In my capacity as a member of the steering committee in charge of overseeing the implementation of the whole project, I have the opportunity to be in close coordination and overseeing all the activities. Therefore, I feel that this program has been a very good opportunity for Jordan as first it was based on the priorities that IEC decided to develop its plan and implement its role. The support from EU through the management of ECAS is very important, as we have technical expertise coming to Jordan to provide us with their technical expertise to implement the priorities and to achieve our goals. It also gives us a very good opportunity to learn from others. We have a special component to learn from other countries, to travel to other countries, to see other experiences so that we can learn and accommodate that within our own specific culture and the priorities of Jordan. In terms of quality control, as part of the project, one of the components is the ISO certification. For us, this has been very important because this will give the IEC the opportunity to ensure sustainability. When you have quality control procedures and manuals within the organization, this means that for the long term, no matter how management changes, no matter who comes and goes, there is a manual of procedures to ensure the quality of the governance of the IEC. We also have the training, which is very important for capacity building, whether that is for training of the staff, training of the media, training of the members of the election commissions, and of course our coordination and dialogue with stakeholders. Again, a lot of activities are part of all the components to make sure that we include everyone in the process of the electoral process at IEC. Well, the first thing actually that comes to my mind is that the project has been instrumental in supporting IEC in our social media activities and strategy, especially as we are targeting to involve the youth. So the project has been really instrumental during the elections of 2017 and 2016, where we had a team of young people in charge of social media accounts to open a dialogue with the youth and to create creative tools to attract the youth into this process and include them and involve them.
Have you seen the concrete?
Yes, actually I have, and especially that I was working very closely with our team working on social media. So I remember when we started our Facebook account, one of the things that I used to observe is that the young generation who were active in their dialogue were very skeptical, were very negative, were saying we don't want to get involved, we don't trust the process. But as we were trying to respond to these, the feelings and the conversations, we used to produce special materials to educate them. We produce materials like infographics, like games for them to understand the election law, the election system, how they can get involved, and why their vote is important. So through the time, I could see a number of people from the same group who were very negative. 2-3 days before elections were saying, okay, how can I vote? This has been very, very important. Another thing that comes to my mind also is the work with the volunteers. In 2016, with the parliament elections, we had around 9,000 volunteers from student universities who worked with IEC. In 2017, the elections, we had 30,000 applying to work as volunteers, and this had a great impact on the young generation, because when you get them involved in the process, it's part of civic education. So these are the two things that come to my mind, in addition to many other things. Definitely, because our challenge in 2016, the first election that the IEC conducted was in 2013. So it was just the beginning. But the elections of 2016, our challenge was to prove to the public the integrity and accountability, and that we are conducting fair elections. So that was the big challenge, to prove that there will be no interference, to prove that the paper in the ballot boxes is what will be counted, and the result will be based on who comes and votes. So that was our big challenge, and because like in many countries, people are losing trust in this whole process. I could see the difference in 2017 as we conducted two national elections in the same day, which is the decentralization and the municipality. So we felt that we don't have to prove again that IEC is there to ensure accountable and accountability and integrity. It was just to put more effort into educating people of how we are conducting the two elections, the electoral process and the procedures. So even when we used to go to visit, whether in universities or women gatherings, or when we used to visit candidates and to explain, that question was not being asked a lot, like how can you prove that you are going to have an accountable election? And of course, the reports from the observers, whether local or international observers' reports, were very positive on 2016 elections and 2017. So this has given first the IEC and Jordan a pride of leading this process and being a model of managing the elections. Now we are investing in 2019 to prepare for the elections of 2020. And one of our approaches, of course, is to evaluate the previous elections and the recommendations from the observations reports. So we can tackle any areas where we need to develop and change, and many. There are different areas actually. For example, we have to work on ensuring more accessibility for persons with disability, because the challenge in Jordan that all our polling stations are public schools. So there's a limit to how you can work on the premises physically. But we are working from now in coordination with the National Councils for Persons with Disability and the Ministry of Education to make sure that we can do the changes that are necessary in these centers. The other thing is that the training of election committees members and training of trainers, because I was also very involved, and my observation was that because by law the IEC starts preparing 4 months before election day. So like the training manuals are developed a bit late, and sometimes you conduct the training too close to elections. So what we're working on now is to evaluate all the trainers that we have, to review the training modules that we have, and to have the training modules in a more practical way, in videos, and the training to be more practical, so that when we start preparing for the elections, we have more solid training of trainers that can provide a better training.
The big picture beyond the 2020 elections?
Well, actually, let me give you, yes, this is where I wanted to start, is we are part of the bigger picture of the country, not only the election, it's still. And, Jordan is being faced with continuous challenges, and the environment, political and social and economic environment in Jordan is becoming difficult by time, every year, and every thing that happens around us affects Jordan. And as you know, today one of the biggest challenges, in addition to our internal economic challenge, we have the refugee pressure that puts a lot of pressure on our economy. In addition to the regional biggest conflict, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the deal of the century and its impact. So at the end of the day, the elections of 2020, how it goes, will also be affected by all these environments, whether locally or regionally. And this will affect how much IEC, with our stakeholders, will need to keep educating the public that more political participation is an opportunity of more democracy and better governance and a stronger country to face such challenges. So this is where we will need to put more effort of education and awareness, and it's not like the election is not the end, it's just a process, and that will make Jordan stronger. And the participation of everybody is an essential and important thing to strengthen our country, and to prove to everyone around us that Jordan is moving forward despite all the challenges. Because even when we conducted the elections of 2016, people were skeptical, not only in Jordan but around us, that with all these challenges, can Jordan conduct elections? So we will prove again that despite all the challenges and the difficulties, we look at the election as a process to strengthen the country and its democratic process. What we demonstrate in Jordan is that political reform is not just on paper, it's also an action to take. We have amended our election law, established the Independent Election Commission. We have the law of decentralization, which was the first time that we conducted elections for governorate bodies. So Jordan always proves that we act and we don't only speak. So this is something very important. And for the countries around us, definitely Jordan is seeking to be a model in different areas. And at IEC, we look at ourselves that we want to be a center of excellence and a model for the other countries around us, because one day, hopefully soon, we will see stability. And we have different countries like in Iraq, in Libya, they do have management election bodies. And a lot of them come to Jordan to learn from our experience. So definitely we seek to be a model in the region. And we already in Jordan are the center for the election management bodies, the Arab election management bodies. And Jordan is the president for the coming 2 years. And we're also working on the regional training center for elections. So, this is something that's challenging, but we're working to prove that this is the way to go, because, it's a country that we want to move forward. In Jordan, we don't see it as a danger. Because in Jordan, even His Majesty speaks of an open space for political participation from everyone in Jordan. And we are seeking to word stronger political parties with a national agenda, and then towards parliamentarian governments. Why I don't see there's danger, because what differs Jordan from Lebanon, Egypt, and the other countries is that over history, Jordan has proved to be a moderate country, an accommodating country. Look at for example, the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan compared to other countries. They were never oppressed. They were always part of the Jordanian society. They worked in freedom and not under the table. So today they have 12 parliamentarians in the parliament. And Jordan, although it's a small country, but it has a big space for freedom of expression, for democracy, and for political participation. And actually, even if you go back to the discussion papers of His Majesty, he has produced several discussion papers where he is asking people to be politically active. He is asking the institutions to encourage the youth to be politically active. And in Jordan, we do not have, like in Lebanon, ethnic groups or religious groups that are separated with religious agenda, we have the Christians who are part of our society, Muslims, Palestinians with Jordanian origins, Circassians with, Jordanian with Circassian origins, Jordanian with Palestinian origin. Jordan's moderation and moderate governance has allowed all this to be in an open space without being a threat on the country.